Hey everybody, what's going on? I'm Fabian for Liberty. Check out fabianforliberty.com. So, I have been going crazy the last week. I've been up late. I've been researching with my staff. Tuesday I talked about how there's 10,000 troops on the Syrian border between Turkey and Jordan, likely getting ready for a war. Today and all this, by the way, centers around the global economic reset. And if you don't believe it, I don't know what to tell you. I believe it. I hear this from people that are, buying 1,000+ homes a week, literally, that are in with people that sit down with the Fed. Okay, people know this. Our government knows this. It's abundantly clear, and there's evidence for everyone to see this. Case in point, Lindsey Graham, who is suicidal, in my opinion. And is, like I said before, he is like that little school child that basically the parent says, hey, don't do that. And he basically starts saying, well, I hate your guts. I'm going to, go run away and you'll never see me again. Right? It reminds me literally of my 3-year-old when I try to discipline him. Well, now he's asking for a resolution of war to give Obama power to go to war. Now, you might say, well, with Syria? Well, Fabian, that's old news. No, actually not Syria. With Iran. Yeah. Because Iran really is the endgame blueprint, right? Remember, if you believe in the principle of the petrodollar collapsing, the idea that the petrodollar is oil for dollars to prop up the dollar in a state of massive printing, endless printing, to keep asset prices up, to keep the lifestyle many Americans have been accustomed to. They stop printing, that lifestyle's over. They stop printing, the real estate market's over. They stop printing, the stock market's over, right? I mean, the markets will still continue. There'll still be great opportunities for people who know what's happening and that are prepared for it, which is what I try to do every single day. But it will be tough. In fact, 28% of the average American, only 28%, and I think that's probably high, say they know what quantitative easing is. Think about it. Again, the Weimar example was that nobody knew what hyperinflation was, and then about a month later, they're like, hey, that's the subject on the dinner table. If there even was dinner on the table, I should just say that was the subject on the table in the living room of many homes across Germany in the Weimar Republic, was hyperinflation. Well, Iran's the endgame. Quick reference here, once again, Wesley Clark. I can't even say that I like Wesley Clark, right? I don't know him. I don't know, but I do know that he is on record basically saying, look, I was at the Pentagon. A 3- or 4-star general told me this was planned back in 2004 to go to war with Iran, Syria, Libya, Egypt, Lebanon. All this has been planned in advance, okay? I believe him, right? I don't see why he would have to say that. I haven't heard the Pentagon come out and say hey, Wesley Clark, that's not true. No one has said, well, that's not true. So, and remember, Wesley Clark isn't like some crackpot, right? He is a former NATO commander who knows all these guys at the Pentagon, okay? So the bottom line is that Iran's the endgame for this. I mean, think about it again. Bush, Obama, no change in foreign policy. We have a war right now going on. World War III in many events has already started. It is a proxy war in Syria against Russia and China. It is abundantly clear. The evidence is overwhelming. In fact, if you read a book that I read about 2 years ago, and I would pull it up here on my phone, and it's all about economic warfare, basically, and how the Russians and the Chinese used economic warfare to nearly collapse the economy in 2008. Well, the Pentagon issued another report that was never released, but that has been known off record to exist by many other former military out there, and I'm looking for this book right now to show you, that Russia and China, there's a total, there's just so much evidence that they indeed were behind the attack in 2008, which, Bear Stearns and Lehman Brothers, short positions of 23,000 shares being sold in one day, 23 million shares being sold in one day, 35 million shares being sold in another day. Keep in mind that Bear Stearns had $16 billion cash reserve before, in 3 days, the money was gone, right? So it was a bear raid. And this is a way that the Chinese or the Russians can attack. I've said this now for years that this new war isn't going to be fought with tanks and guns and bullets. Yeah, Russia and China are sending, missile ships and or ships and destroyers to the Mediterranean ahead of Syria. I think to just be like, hey, we're in solidarity with them. We're not necessarily going to fight for them. I think that they will be fighting this war with bonds, with treasuries, with dollars, with gold. That's the way the new war will be fought. That's the way the global economic reset will come. And Russia and China, who is allied with Iran right now, and Syria, will happily sacrifice and put up on the altar of the global economic reset Iran and Syria. They would love to see America dragged into another war. And the way it's been set up now is that I think a lot of these politicians, they're like, listen, we have to control this oil. We have to control this Middle East, because if we don't, the dollar's over and everything's over, and likely they'll throw us in, the people will turn on us and they'll come for us and they'll, have another type of revolution like we've seen happen hundreds of times before. Now, the name of that book is called Secret Weapon by a guy named Kevin Friedman. It is a wonderful, wonderful book. I really recommend you read it. I mean, it breaks down, shows you all the evidence of economic warfare. Remember, back in 2003, I think 2002, two top Chinese generals wrote a book about asymmetric warfare against the U.S., talking about how, radical Islamists could help do this, about how, blackouts could help do this, EMP attacks, bear raids, all this stuff. That's what's the truth going on here, ladies and gentlemen. That's why Lindsey Graham, that nutbag, is saying, let's go to war with Iran. Instead of just saying, you know what, let's back our dollar by gold, let's cut the spending, let's restore states' rights, the Bill of Rights, the Constitution. Let's go back to those principles. Let's, get a flat tax to boom this economy. Let's start drilling for our own resources here at home. No. We have a bunch of globalist, corrupt criminals that have hijacked the country. They're leading this country into absolute destruction. But then again, being the optimist that I am, although if you're new to these videos and for the 1,000+ new subscribers over the last month, you might be saying like, hey, that's pretty doomsday stuff, Fabian. Actually, I am an optimist, and I do believe that this is all an opportunity for the individual. It's an opportunity that when it goes down, people will want answers. They want answers now desperately. They really do. That's why this argument is easy to make, because it's truthful, and it can be backed up really clearly. Check out FabianForLiberty.com. Also check me out on Facebook, facebook.com/FabianForLiberty. Thanks for watching. I'm out.